But we talked the other day about Roald Dahl, the controversy about stripping away the blunt language that makes his book so funny and engaging. Seriously, they're taking the Roald Dahl out of Roald Dahl to please the secular gods of political correctness. We've heard the same about James Bond books now. I can't wait till they have a crack at sanitising American Psycho or The Exorcist. The whole thing is absurd. And this was highlighted by a terrific piece in the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age by Brad Emery. Emery wrote that he thought Roald Dahl was bad, then checked his daughter's bookshelf. The fracas over Dahl's work prompted me to check the content of my 9-year-old daughter's bookshelf, wrote Emery, to make sure there were no similarly subversive and potentially damaging works. I was astounded at the offensive filth we had so innocently allowed our daughter to collect over the years. Then he took us through some of the classics. He condemned Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown for singling out the moon to say good night to, while ignoring other planets and planetoids in the solar system. Emery said this promotes an anti-inclusion agenda. Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. Emery says he's a serial offender, is slammed for force-feeding meat and poultry produce to an individual who obviously identifies as vegan, until the victim finally succumbs to the torturous advances. The fact that the victim finds they actually enjoy the animal products is irrelevant, writes Emery, saying the book could be revised as green tofu and plant-based spam. Emery then turns his sights on Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling, of course, pointing out that Hogwarts practices discriminatory school admission, limiting its staff and student intake to wizards and witches. Anyone considered a muggle is barred from applying to study. Now, this is a ripping read, and I know Brad Emery, and I congratulated him on Facebook, warning him that some of the Fairfax readers might not get the irony. They might think he was serious. And sure enough, when I checked the comments, there were some hilarious responses. Dr. E protested. We're complaining about discrimination against imaginary muggles now? Seriously? Well, no, Dr. E, it's not serious, and that's the point. It's satire. Sushi says we should just cancel the past, declaring that most of the books and films from their youth now need full censorship. And this is pointed out by their kids. Cancel the past. Your books need full censorship. Do you not trust your own intelligence? I see. Maybe not. Marvin Martian was one commenter. He's not from another planet, and he accepts that this might have been an attempt at humour and protests all the same. Do we need our children to read classic books that have often depict bad people as fat and ugly? Why the uproar? Well, the uproar is because it's censorship. It's vandalism of literature. Would you prefer the word fat did not exist? Perhaps we should ban the words fat and ugly. What about the word idiot? Can we still use that? And finally, one commenter just wasn't sure. I sincerely hope this article was satire or tongue-in-cheek, else all hope is lost and cancel culture has won. Well, yes, you're right. But the other responses show that the cancel culture victory is closer than we might think. The battle for freedom of speech and common sense is going to get increasingly ugly, if I'm allowed to use that word.